Absolutely. I would ratchet up the iterative playback cadence that I have with key stakeholders. So depending on your context and what you're doing, for example, if you are in a research function, if you're saying we're going to do this research and then we're going to go off and we'll see you in 2 months, nobody's paying for that.
Right.
Nobody.
Right.
But if you have a rigor in your research practice to say at the end of every week and a half, this is what we've learned. This is what we still don't know. These are still open questions. This is how many people we've talked to. And there are companies that use this methodology. Sometimes they're called postcards from the field, right? Field research, it comes from that space. Yeah. And that way people are connected to it. And they're saying, that's interesting. What else? And what's good about that is that when you finally get to the end of that, then you can sit down with people and go, hey, remember when we told you this, we told you that, this is the changes. And you're starting to get people out of these concrete mindsets and helping them realize that synthesis is ongoing, that insights develop more over time the more you know. Clarity is something that is a gradual, not a one-time thing. You can't just pull a deck from 2 years ago and be like, those are the insights. Okay, this is what we're doing.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Nothing's changed in the last 2 years.
Oy vey. Yeah. And even then, something that takes like 2 months worth of research, that's a heavy generative effort. That is one flavor of research, right? So I think postcards from the field, you got to do it if you're in research. Playbacks overall to senior leadership, and then coaching senior leadership on what to ask, right? Yeah. Whenever we're solving problems, my perspective is that the people closest to the work should be the ones solving the problems. And then people above that become coaches and they ask questions. So how many people did you talk to? How did you pivot from the feedback you got? How have you tested this particular prototype? What did you learn, right? What key pain points are you solving for? What problem are you trying to solve at all?
Right.
And there's a beautiful method to the madness of iteratively playing back to people and helping them develop their knowledge over time. You avoid what we all hate, which is that executive swoop and poop, where they're like, I told you 3 months ago to do this.
Right.
And then you're like, well, for 3 months we've been trying to figure it out, and what you told us to do and what we should be doing are vastly different. And if you're not letting them know before the 3-month mark that things are changing and you've learned some other stuff, it's going to be a problem. And the only reason they swoop in like that is because you keep them in the dark. So you have a responsibility as a product team to push back up to executives to say, this is what we're learning. And a lot of times there's a lot of fear associated with that. We believe in hierarchy and we don't want to test it, or we use it as an excuse because we don't have the skills to test it. And so your expertise has to evolve. You have to get better at these kinds of things and realize that your executives don't want to dictate, they just want outcomes.